Welcome to a whole nother awesome review. I just got back from The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves, and the movie was actually 3 hours long, and I didn't even get back until 9:10, and the movie was at 6 o'clock. Okay, so anyways, I just want to give you my review on The Batman. Now, when I saw the on-set photos of this film, I thought it was going to be a disaster, and I thought it was going to be horrible because I saw the on-set photos of Robert Pattinson as Batman, and anybody can tell you that I absolutely hate the Twilight movies. So I wasn't excited about Robert Pattinson playing Batman. And also, I didn't like the on-set photos because I saw like an on-set photo of Robert Pattinson's like Batman motorcycle, and it didn't make me very excited to see the movie. But I absolutely loved this movie and I thought it was incredible. I went with my mom and dad, and my dad actually turned to me after watching the movie and actually said that he thought this was the best Batman movie ever made. He thought it was well directed, well acted, and well written. And I absolutely have to agree with him. It is a fantastic movie. It's definitely in my top Batman movies. I love the Tim Burton Batman and Batman Returns. I also like the Nolan series. But Dark Knight is definitely up there for one of my favorite Batman films. But I have to say that this movie is definitely one of the best. The Riddler in this film the Riddler in this film is fantastic. He's very dark, extremely dark. And compared to Jim Carrey's Riddler, I mean, just forget about Jim Carrey's Riddler. Jim Carrey is a great actor, don't get me wrong, but his Riddler in Batman Forever is not my favorite performance. But the performance in this film is extremely dark. And I love the Riddler in this movie. The Riddler is a lot like the Zodiac Killer, which is an incredible thing to base the character off. And I love that this film, this is one of those movies where it's extremely hard to go to the washrooms because every second of the movie you're on your seat wondering what's going to happen. And this, when you get out of the movie, you're going to be like, wow, that was 3 hours long. That's how you know when it's an incredible film. And unlike Matt Reeves goes for a more off-color color palette in this film. The colors are very dried out, and the blacks are more of an off black, where Nolan goes for an extremely dark black so Batman can disappear into the shadows. Matt Reeves actually goes for an off black so you can see Batman's more of his surroundings when he disappears into the darkness. You can see more what's going on in the darkness, which is a very cool thing that Matt Reeves has done that none of the directors from all the other Batman movies have gone for, a more off-colored black, basically. And I gotta say, Matt Reeves does an amazing job directing this film. Colin Farrell steals the show as the Penguin. He totally disappears into that role. And he should probably get nominated for an Oscar in this movie because his performance as the Penguin is incredible. And his Penguin's so good because it's like he disappears into the role. You can't even tell that Colin Farrell is there. It's like a completely different person, and he becomes that character. And I have to say that this movie is definitely one of my favorite Batman movies of all time. And I really enjoyed this film. And it's extremely hard to go to the washroom watching this movie, so I'm going to have to rewatch this film again because there was a scene where I had to go to the washroom, and it was where the Riddler's men were like fighting Batman. Luckily, I got back right before like the big fight or whatever. But I'm going to have to rewatch this movie because I did miss some of that because I had to go to the washroom. And it's very hard to hold out for a 3 hour movie where you have to go to the bathroom. At least in Nolan's movie, like there were some like boring parts where you could go to the washroom and you wouldn't miss anything. Where with this movie, it's extremely hard to go to the washroom because every scene in this film is crucial to like the puzzles of the Riddler and everything. So you're going to have a hard time going to the bathroom during this movie. But, I mean, that just shows you that it's a fantastic movie. And the chase scene in this movie with the Riddler and Batman is probably, I would say, one of the best Batman chase scenes of all time, next to the Dark Knight scene with the Joker, you know. I love this movie. It looks incredible. I would love to see how they shot everything with this film, because they did so many great shots in this film. And I love the idea of Batman using contact lenses and filming everything and then analyzing it on his computer. Like 10 years ago, this would have seemed like sci-fi, but now it's actually possible. They've actually made contact lenses that can film stuff. So the idea that Batman uses that to analyze scenes and investigate crimes makes total sense. And I have to say that I got to give it to Matt Reeves. He makes it totally plausible that Batman could use that in the world that we live in, basically. And I just love how they shot everything. Nothing feels like CGI or anything. Everything feels real watching this movie. And I gotta say, like, the special effects in this movie were out of this world. Like, how they shot everything. Like, when Batman goes down the building, you know, on his grappling hook. Fantastic filmmaking right there. The chase scenes are amazing. Nothing feels CGI in this movie. Everything feels real. And I love this movie. And Andy Serkis gives a amazing performance as Alfred in this movie. I gotta commend everybody who gave a performance in this film. I love it. I hope that Colin Farrell gets nominated for an Oscar for this movie. And I love this movie. I hope that this movie actually gets nominated for an Oscar for Best Picture, because it is truly a masterpiece, as Andy Serkis has said. Anyways, if you're wondering kind of like what the feel to this movie is like, I would say Frank Miller's Year One. It's basically Batman kind of becoming Batman, Catwoman becoming Catwoman. You get kind of like a, I don't know, like a Year One vibe. I guess Nolan kind of did that in Batman Begins, but this is a much darker take on Batman. In fact, I think that this movie was originally shot as a rated R film, and they just edited some scenes out to make it PG-13, because it's an extremely dark Batman movie, and this is definitely the darkest Batman movie that we've ever seen. Matt Reeves, the Batman, and I gotta say, Matt Reeves steals the show. The music in this movie with Nirvana and them playing the song over and over again in the movie, and just like they show that in the trailer, and you're like, oh, that's an interesting song for the trailer, and it's in the movie. And Something in the Way is just a perfect song to capture the Batman, basically. The whole idea of the Batman, and I loved it. I love the music in this film, I love the special effects, I love the acting, and I love the writing. So I'm going to give this movie a 10 out of 10. I'm going to say go see it if you haven't seen Matt Reeves' The Batman, and it's a great film. And Robert Pattinson is a fantastic Batman, and I take everything bad back that I thought about Robert Pattinson. I thought that maybe Robert Pattinson could pull this off because of his performance in Good Times, and he definitely does. He's a really good actor, and I can't wait to see more Batman movies with him in it. If you wait to the end of this movie where the Riddler is in... you wait to the end of this movie, there's going to be something with the Riddler that's going to lead up to the next movie. And I'm not going to give it away, but you should definitely wait to the end of this movie and make sure that you go to the washroom before the end of the movie, because it's going to lead into the next film. So that's all I'm going to say about that. It's a fantastic movie. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Definitely go see it. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this review, and have an awesome night.